News on the Fly guy here, and I'm with former Kentucky Farm Boy, Clarkson City Councilor Terry Beadles. And we're going to talk a little bit about the marijuana ban in Clarkson. Terry, you've always been against the sale of recreational marijuana in Clarkson.
That's correct.
Can you give us your reasoning behind that?
Okay, my main stance is public safety because the commonplace of it makes it unsafe because the homes of people who use it will filter down to the children if there are children in the home. So, and also it'll make it so commonplace that the people in high school will accept it more so than they already do. It bothers me that we're introducing another problem in society, and we already have the alcohol problem, which is all you got to do is pick up the paper and look at all the DUI charges, and now we're going to have more charges of people driving under the influence of marijuana. But my main concern is the safety with the youth,
right,
because you're going to make this so commonplace that it's accepted in society and it's going to be readily available because enough homes will have it.
Right.
And I don't think we need to add another element of unsafe environment, right, for our children. In other words, every child deserves to have a happy childhood.
Right. Okay. Now, there's people are big on statistics these days. Do you have any evidence that recreational sales would lead to an unsafe environment for youth or anything like that?
Well,
I mean, is there studies on that?
The only studies I know of is that a young brain is very susceptible to the damage that, right, marijuana promotes. And recently there was a case, yesterday in the paper, there was a case of what I'm talking about. There was a parent who was smoking, and his child got enough of the secondary smoke that he gave his child some more different kinds of hashish oil.
Sure.
And it just created an extremely dangerous situation for the child.
Right.
And I think that we need to protect our children as much as we can.
Right. Okay. Now, in these meetings, there's been some testy exchanges, I think, between you and some of the people that show up in the meetings that are protesting the ban. And you've always voted, since I've been there, to limit their ability to speak to, 15 minutes per side on the issue, which allows for only about 5 people. And it seems like there's some frustration there that they can't air their views. Can you give us your side of the story on that?
Okay, most generally, all we hear is a repetition of the previous speaker. I'm willing to listen to anybody, but I want something new, some new stats or something, a new idea or a new concept. There's no point in being repetitious of that. You don't accomplish anything. And also, if we let it go on to a lengthy time, we could be wasting a lot of people's time.
Right.
However, on the same subject, I do get a lot of comments that are for the ban,
right,
outside of council meetings. A lot, right, of people, when I see them in stores, they tell me that they support the ban, and also I do receive phone calls of people, right, who support the ban. But their reason for not attending council meetings is they want to avoid the circus that they see going on here, or they hear about going on here.
Right. So is that mostly an older generation, would you think, or is it people from all walks of life here in Clarkson?
Yeah, all walks of life. I think most people are against it who are trying to do their best to maintain a high standard of living, and I mean by that they're trying to do a good job with their children and trying to do a good job with their own health.
Right. Now, what about the people that say, look, we understand you're elected officials, but this was voted for in the state of Washington, and there was actually a small majority of people here in Clarkson that were for recreational sales of marijuana. How would you answer them?
That's true. They did vote it, but I really feel like the previous election, when we approved I-502 statewide, was very one-sided. I think it was funded by the people who wanted it very heavily with advertising and things. I don't think people understood the dangers of it, and I think that the side who was against I-502 didn't have the resources for the Blitz campaign that the pro side did. Right. So I don't think it was a good election. I think people voted for it because there was of all the hype all the, right, good that it would do, and we know that's simply not true.
So you think that the advertising around was a little one-sided, and if people had taken the time, they would have understood exactly what they were voting for?
That's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
See, one of the key campaign issues was that it would reduce the population of the prisons because we legalized marijuana.
Right.
But if that be true, what about the shoplifters? Should we legalize that too, so we don't have those folks incarcerated also?
Right. Well, to be fair, there is a difference in those kind of crimes. One is something you're doing to yourself out of your own free choice, and the other is stealing. So.
Yes, that is damaging business. That's true. But
yeah.
We shouldn't be legalizing crime, whether it be against yourself or against
right.
The established
right.
business.
And maybe even, for me to say it's against yourself, I can't say. I mean, it's up to the person. They may find benefits, like these folks are saying, from marijuana. So
I wouldn't argue against the medical benefits of marijuana.
Right.
However, I did talk to a local MD in the valley about this, and he said there are other drugs that would do the same thing. Granted, they might be more expensive than
right.
marijuana, but marijuana does seem to have some dismal effect
right.
on people, and that's something we'll have to talk about down the road. Right now is not the time.
Right. Okay. Now, there's a couple of lawsuits against the city and against individual council members. Were you one of the council members sued?
That's true. There is one lawsuit filed against the city and against certain council members.
Right.
That's true.
Okay. And you've brought that up as a reason of wanting to sort of end the debate and let the courts. Is that your idea, to let the courts settle the issue and not have it brought up in the council anymore?
No. No, I think it should be talked about after we get the court cases settled. Right now, there's a total of 3. Of course, the one is the lawsuit against the city and certain council members, but there also is 2 that the city have filed against opening pot stores without a license.
Right.
And we need to get all this cleared up, because my view is if we try to settle it in the council without letting the court settle it, then it's going to look like political favoritism. In other words, we're trying to do favors for certain store owners.
Well, yeah, but those folks would argue if you dropped the ban that there would be no need for the lawsuits, and if the ban was dropped, then things would, go. The lawsuits would be dropped, and that would handle that as well.
Well, that's true, but that's that's previous history.
Right.
Right now, we have alleged criminal action, and that needs to be solved in the courts before we can address it. In other words, I don't think the city should offer political favoritism.
Right. Now, as an outside observer, when I come to these meetings and so forth, and you said, and you make a good point about not having the same information presented a lot of different times, but for the people that want to speak, it seems to be a great frustration that it seems to them like you don't want to hear them, and that's the impression they have.
Well, that could be. That's not true, but it does. It can be rather lengthy if we allowed everyone to speak.
Right.
And some of the council members do have employment,
sure.
and they need to get home and get the rest so they can do a good job next day. But we could. I was thinking about this situation, and I think maybe we might see if the council is willing to move the comments to the end of the meeting, and
right.
therefore we can allow more time.
Okay. Now that's something that you're open to?
Right.
Okay. All right. Terry Beatles, you used to be a runner, and now you're a bicyclist, and you have a passion for that. Can you tell us what you'd like to see happen in the city of Clarkson with the bikes?
Right. I would like to see a bicycle transportation friendly city,
right.
and that we would encourage people to ride them to work or to ride them to small pickup items.
Right.
And I think we're headed that way through the Bicycle Alliance in the
right. valley,
and we need to promote that more, as transportation is very expensive to run a car.
Yeah.
It would be a neat concept, but someday maybe that'll happen.
Right. Okay. Councilman Beatles, is there anything else you'd like to say about the marijuana ban that we didn't cover?
No, other than what I said, it's mainly a child safety issue with
right.
With me anyway. It's a safety of our youth, and we know we do spend a lot of money in the city on police and fire protection for
sure.
for safety, and so we'd be amiss if we didn't look at other avenues of safety also.
Right. Okay, hey, sir, thank you so much.
Good, thank you.
Yeah.